Hello, folks. Welcome to Office Hours at Philosophy Hall. Today, we'll be discussing classroom discussion. How to become better at classroom discussion. You may be worried about speaking too much or too little. You may be speaking with an accent like I do, or you may be shy. If you are at all worried about your participation, if participation is a part of your classroom grade, here are the kind of questions that students often come to me with. And here are some of the common answers that I cover in my regular office hours during the semester. Okay, let's go. All right, so the first thing to understand, the spirit of the endeavor. Why are we doing this? For sure, we're not having classroom participation or discussion so that somebody can show off their knowledge of the subject. So your job, remember, is not just to show that you've read the material or something like that, because that's right. We are here together, here in the classroom. I mean, when we're in the classroom, we're there together in furtherance of a common goal. We're there for a common purpose, and that is to learn something, and that is to take a difficult concept, a difficult text perhaps, a difficult scientific concept, and together look at its intricacies, together look at its complexities. The bottom line is anything that you do in furtherance of that common goal is good. That's a good conversation. And it doesn't matter if you can say something silly, you can say something stupid, or you can say something smart, as long as you are saying it to the whole group, and as long as you're saying it in dialogue with the text, in furtherance of common knowledge, you're good. If you're saying it to show off, if you're saying it because you missed a bunch of classes and now you feel like your participation grade is off, all those are the wrong reasons to participate. Keep the goal of why you're doing something in mind. This goes for life in general, but it certainly goes for classroom discussion, or actually for any discussion. What makes somebody good at classroom discussion is what makes them a good conversationalist in general. So I guess some of these tips that we're covering today, they're just generally how to be a better conversationalist. And it's okay if you're not naturally so, if you're not naturally an outgoing person, totally fine. This will help you. Sticking to this kind of rule of thumb will help you become better, will help you go to push yourself a little bit in that uncomfortable territory. All right, number two, come prepared. Coming prepared means that you have done your homework, you've done the required reading, you took notes, you're not sitting there browsing Instagram or whatever, and you're not saying stuff that's not related to the class. You all know the kind of person who shows up. I don't know, sometimes I have students who they will say it. They'll say, oh, I haven't done the reading, but it sounds that what you're saying is similar to this thing I saw on TV last night. No, please no. You hate this, I hate this, because we're breaking our rule number one, and that is, let's do something together. We are all talking about a particular text. We're all talking about a particular issue, not about something that reminds you of something else. So that means both not saying stuff for the sake of saying stuff, but it also means anchoring what you're saying in the material. So coming prepared and anchoring, number 4 on our list, they're related. Is when you're prepared, you're able to ask a question, you're able to provide an opinion or challenge the classroom, or maybe even disagree with your instructor. Totally fine, as long as you anchor it in the context of the assigned material for that day. You can also more carefully anchor what you're saying and make connections to other materials in the class. So maybe something was discussed last week, maybe it was a few weeks ago, that's great, but more careful. And only then, if you want to bring in other things. If you, you have read something super interesting in another course, that's fine. But remember, just to get everybody else on board with that comment would take a long time. People might not know exactly the text or the TV show or whatever it is that you are referring to. And so they don't really have a proper connection point. All right, so that's number 3 and 4, right? I forgot to say this. Moderate your speech. This one is simple. Some people have a problem not talking enough. Other people dominate the conversation. That's not good either, because we are engaged in dialogue. We are in a dialogue. So that dialogue versus a monologue. Let me do this. Right, versus monologue. Something like this. Monologue. There we go. Dialogue versus a monologue. Don't just pontificate on some topic. Include your peers in the discussion. Perhaps somebody else said something that you agreed with. Quote them. Just say, Libby said something interesting that also makes me think of, etc., etc. So you want to build in the discussion, anchor what you're saying in the text, build in the discussion that's happening in the classroom, include your peers, include other people in the room into your discussion, include the material of the text, or include the conversation that the instructor has been holding as well. Be inclusive, stay humble, moderate your voice. All of that will make you a better conversationalist. All right, next one. Address your peers. We already spoke about this a little bit. Too often is the discussion directed towards one person, and that's a pet peeve of mine. When I ask you a question, it is not my hope that you answer me directly. My job in the classroom is to promote conversation. And often, if I'm doing my job correctly, when I'm assigning difficult texts or different concepts, I try to, yes, I will cover things that are obvious or kind of the surface meaning of the thing, but then I will pause at moments that are strange or unclear or that I don't understand myself. And I do it to share, to give you a glimpse of my thinking in hopes that you also share your passage with me. You were reading this, you were trying to do your homework, you were struggling with this concept. Tell me about it. Tell your peers about it. That's more interesting than, I know the answer. Let me tell you the answer, blah, blah, blah. This is everything I know about the topic. So if you are being real, if you're addressing your peers, I think that helps you find a voice that's not fake in some way, because you're not addressing an authority, really. Imagine speaking to your peers. And by the way, this also holds true for writing. When you write, do not write for me. Do not write for your instructor. Imagine your peers. Imagine people who are just like you are in this classroom. They're reading this hopefully super interesting stuff, and they're struggling together. And that's who you're addressing, really. Okay, next one. I'm going to take a sip of water. Number 7, ask real questions. I think we covered this already. This goes together with, oh, look, I misspelled address. No worries. Ask real questions. So don't fake it. That's the same advice for writing, is begin with true sense of puzzlement. And not knowing something is always much more interesting, actually, than just understanding something completely. And not knowing something is the doorway into a good conversation, rather than bludgeoning someone with stuff you already know and stuff that's likely obvious to other people. So participation in class doesn't always mean shining and blinding others with your brilliance. Conversation means being unsure, coming from that humble place you saw before, coming from that place of uncertainty, coming from that place of I don't know. And that place is actually great. And that place is the thing that draws the other in. And it is the starting point for, I think, a more interesting conversation. So be real, ask real questions, don't fake it. And you see how that number 7, ask real question, relates to the imposter syndrome. So this is an important thing. Every successful place I've been to, I've been a part of, whether it was at Michigan, where I did my undergrad, or at Microsoft, or at Harvard, every place is constantly running workshops on the imposter syndrome. What does that mean? It means that in every great place, everybody, it's not just you, it's not just me, everybody there is thinking that they somehow don't belong, that they're somehow not worthy, that they're an imposter. And so once you know that, once you know it's not just you, and more than that, you have to understand that being unsure in yourself is a sign of intelligence. The more you know how little you know. Somebody said that. Hopefully you've come to this realization yourself. The more you know, and unfortunately, that means that people who are smart, people who are knowledgeable, they often are reluctant to participate because they also understand how insufficient they are to the task of the discussion or of the thing, of the concept. And unfortunately, it also means that people who have not given it much thought, people who are not prepared, people who are not very considerate when they're speaking, they will often just speak, and they will do so confidently, and they will clubber the discussion. Don't think that they're getting extra points. It's better to start in a place of not knowing, in a place of uncertainty. And it also means if this imposter syndrome is preventing you from participating, you really have to just understand that it's okay to have that doubt. The place of doubt is great. It's a great place to begin. It's very likely, if you are having doubts, if you don't understand something, if I said something in a classroom and you didn't get it, it's very likely other people didn't get it either. And they would love it if you said something. If you paused me and said, excuse me, when you said XYZ, what exactly did you mean? Can you slow down and repeat it again? I did not get it. And not just your peers would appreciate that, but also I would appreciate it. Your instructor appreciates input. Your instructor appreciates, it's not something that anybody would ever frown upon. So we're all imposters. We all have doubt. We all don't know things. And the more you learn, the more you get in depth in the subject, the more you will understand the inadequacy of your knowledge. But that also means the more responsibility you have to participate. So if you are in doubt, it's okay to be in doubt. It's a great place to start. Speak honestly about your doubt. Begin your questions there. Anchor them in the text. Stay humble, and you will already do okay. All right. Next one. And this issue is really close to my heart. We all come to the conversation with different abilities, different disabilities, different histories, different styles of conversation. Many of my students are here in New York. English is not their native language. English is not my native language. And of course, early on in my academic career, I also struggled to participate verbally in a discussion, and I was much more shy about speaking out loud with an accent, about not knowing how to pronounce something properly. When I was a kid, I read quite a bit, both in Russian and in English, but I didn't speak that much. So I knew my vocabulary was okay in English, was pretty good, but I often just didn't know how to pronounce words properly. And as you know, English is crazy because the way it's written and the way it's pronounced is nothing similar. So that could be a reason that you might be reluctant to speak, is because you are speaking with an accent, or you're a first-generation student, or you have a speech impediment. Whatever it is that's preventing you from speaking, I hope that you can work through it. As long as you are going back to number one, as long as you're participating and furthering the goal of knowing, if you're saying things honestly, humbly, if you're keeping on track to the material, it doesn't matter how you say it. It doesn't matter if you have to take your time, if you have to say it with an accent, if you say good things, if you participate productively, you will be fine. You will be fine, I promise. That kind of participation, very American style, right? If you went to an American school, you'll be acculturated into this way of discussion. We place a lot of emphasis on discussion in American schooling. In many other places in the world, you are not encouraged to speak up. And so the American style discussion is going to be more challenging. Right. What else was I going to say about this topic? One more important note on ability, disability, and style of conversation. Very often when you're talking about technical texts, or let's say if you're reading academic prose, or maybe you're reading historical stuff, you may not know how to pronounce a particular word or a particular name. This particularly is true for foreign names. So Foucault, right? Spelled O-U-L-T. Do you say Foucault? Or how would you know if you haven't encountered this author, for example? How would you know how to pronounce it correctly? And here, I have a simple idea for you. Is there are three ways of doing this: the snooty way, the correct way, and the natural way. The snooty way, the correct way, and the natural way. And I'll tell you the one I prefer. The snooty way is to pronounce things properly, right? So Foucault, bourgeois, whatever. Often words in other language get imported into English and retain some of their natural phonetic qualities. And it may be that some words, so Foucault, we really do not pronounce the final T by convention. However, note, there are two problems here. The one problem is that we only do that for certain languages, mostly European languages, mostly elite European, historically dominant, and often colonial languages. And we'll only go out of our way to pronounce things correctly in those prestige languages like Latin and French and maybe occasionally German, but we will rarely do this, or at least the snooty people will rarely do it for other languages like Mongolian or Cantonese or thousands of other languages in the world. That's not fair. That's not fair, and it reflects a particular history of academic, what should we call it, colonialism, academic, Eurocentric, American-centric kind of idea. The first thing is it's not fair. If you're going to pronounce things correctly, you're going to insist on the original language pronunciation, okay, let's do it for all languages. So if that's something you adopt, I'm okay with that. Don't be snooty. Certainly do not correct people if they mispronounce something. But often, here's the important part, is that often the people who are snooty, they're just wrong. What's a good example of this? Octopus. The plural of octopus in English is octopuses. It's okay to say that. But somebody will say, aha, but you're supposed to say octopi, because I is the whatever plural declension in, where does it come from, in Latin. And if somebody corrects you, if you're going to correct somebody, actually don't do it ever, but if somebody corrects you, well, they better come correct. They better know the etymology of the word. If you're going to be nerdy about it, then be nerdy. Look up the etymology of the word and you'll see that the puss in the octopus is not Latin. It comes from Greek. Octopi is not the way you would make it plural in Greek. It would probably be octopodes. And point is, you might be in waters that you're not really ready to swim in. Are you comfortable with Greek declension? Do you know your Latin and Greek roots well enough to actually speak properly on the topic? it is very unlikely. So just don't do it. And the default, the easy default that I suggest for you is always the natural default. So you don't have to be snooty. You may not have time to be nerdy and to actually do the research. So you can always just say it in a natural English way. So octopus is just perfectly fine. And if you want to pluralize any foreign word, just add an S or ES at the end. You'll be fine. If you don't know how to pronounce a particular foreign name, just pronounce it the way naturally it would come out in English, and maybe apologize for not knowing how to pronounce it in the original language. But still, that's still better than being snooty about it, right? You can't go too wrong by just saying it naturally the way you think it should be pronounced. So that's a little bit on accent and pronunciation of difficult words. Right. Okay. All right. Number 11, charitable disagreement. There'll be times in a discussion where you want to disagree with something that was said before, and that's good. You want to remember, you want to respond, you want to fold in other comments into the conversation, or you may disagree with something that was said by your instructor, and that's good. Disagreement should be welcomed. Part of critical thinking is to challenge received ideas. So you can go ahead and do that. You can challenge received ideas as long as you do so humbly, as long as you do so charitably. So charitably, meaning here that you will summarize before you disagree, you will, to the best of your abilities, summarize the best version of the argument or of the comment that you understood so far. And hopefully, if you have time, you will ask whether your summary is appropriate. Make the other person sound good. Present the best version of what they were trying to say. And then ask, is this a fair summary of what you just said? Am I right to understand that you are arguing for XYZ? And wait in a dialogic manner, wait for their response. And then, if you've done your work well, if you gave the best version of what they were trying to say, the idea that you were disagreeing with, you can then carefully pick parts of what they're saying and disagree with them. And remember that you're not disagreeing with the person. You're not arguing against the person. You're disagreeing with something they said, and likely a small part of what they said. So be careful here. Be charitable, be gracious here about summarizing the other point of view, and then carefully pick the parts that you would like to agree or disagree with. We always go back to this number one thing. If you've done any improv acting in your life, whether somebody said something you agree with or disagree with, your goal is to continue the conversation, not to end it. You don't want to say things that are conversation enders. So disagreement comes in different flavors. There's a kind of disagreement where you would say something like, well, the point, whatever you just said is irrelevant to the conversation, and I think this instead, and that's all there is to say. Okay, game over. That does not leave any room for anybody else to continue your thought. That's bad improv. That's bad jazz. You're playing jazz here together. Be a good improv player. Be a good jazz player. You can play a note that runs counter to the previous note, but it will still in some way continue it, and it will leave space for the other person to respond, for your instructor, or for other people who are speaking after you to come in and continue. So that's a bit of an art. I can't teach you exactly how to do it, but just if very often in your classroom conversations, if you see that people are struggling to continue to follow after you speak, try to think about what you're saying and how you're saying it. It's quite likely that you are foreclosing further avenues of discussion rather than disagreeing or agreeing in ways that opens up the discussion in ways that encourages other people to continue your thought. All right, so that is a few thoughts about charitable disagreement. So now, number 12, and really, let's see, where was I? I would say moderate. So moderate your voice. We already spoke a bit about this in number 3, but moderate your voice. Don't speak too long and don't speak too short. Speak just right. Similar to writing, you want to keep to one comment, one thought. If you have 3 things to say and there's 12 other people having their hands up, don't say all of the things that you wanted to say. Pick one thing and stay concise, stay on topic, moderate your voice. Allow other voices to contribute as well, and that will also improve the flow of the discussion. Okay, and finally, learn how to finish your thoughts. Sometimes some people, maybe myself included, but they tend to trail off into space, or they get nervous and they begin to just fill the space with random thoughts rather than ending their thought in a particular moment. So if you have one comment, one thought, ask a question. Feel free to reinstate your question. Feel free to, for example, in this video, we might go, well, I'm not going to subject you to this, but maybe I will go through the 13 points of how to become better at the discussion, or maybe I will repeat the point I just made. That is, learn how to end well. That is my final point. This is where we'll finish. If you have other questions, please leave them in the comments down below. Please click like, please click subscribe, and let's end our thoughts well together. See you in a few days.